Hello, everybody. Welcome to Skillweed. This is going to be our foundational fundamental class. It will give you some basic overview of IT for those of us that are new to the IT world. It's going to be fun. Just enjoy the ride. I'll try and give you the basic knowledge and foundation to get you to a point where you would be comfortable even as we begin the class. Again, enjoy it, enjoy the ride. I think this will be very transformational. So let's get started on going through the basic and the foundational side of the class. I understand some of us are new to IT, but let's talk about the basic concept. Again, this would not be a class that covers what is a computer, what is a laptop. All of us are already using those devices, but this will be a class to give you basic overview of information technology and cybersecurity as a whole. All right, what is a computer? Again, no disrespect. I know some of us are new, some of us are more advanced and knowledgeable, but I'll take it fundamentally from the scratch. A computer is a general purpose programmable device that is capable of calculating and storing certain output or result. That could be in terms of your laptop, your desktop. Now we have um, notepads, different devices right now to make life easy. So those are just basic of your computer. It's a program that is designed to perform certain function or operation as a whole. Of course, in the concept of IT, there are key things. Number one, hardware, world of it, and the software part of it. Hardware would be like your physical devices that you see, the routers, which we use in our homes. We have cables, we have our laptop, the motherboard. All of those are basic physical things we can touch. The softwares are those intangibles that run at the back end. And most of us use web application. If you're watching this today, you are using a web application. We're using Zoom to conduct this training. So this is the whole concept of it. Just have that basic knowledge. How does it apply to what we do in the world of cyber or GRC or any field? It applies because these are the systems and process we'll be taking a look at. And it will give us that strength, that leverage to really understand how to go about it. To have ask the right question, at the minimum, be informed and knowledgeable about these different areas. Okay. Historically we've had an evolution. You guys will agree 10 years ago. Now it's hard to believe with our mobile devices, we can do everything. Most of us can run our life with our mobile phone. If you have a store online that you sell product, if you have a business operation that you help people with staffing and recruiting, if you have your home system connected to your phone, so many things are just amazingly done with these small devices today. So just wanted to throw that out there. So there's been a lot of evolution. The internet has changed the game big time. A lot of things have changed because of the internet. Okay, thank you very much. Just want to make sure we are recording here. Okay, recording is still on. Thank you. All right, let's continue. Again, we'll just talk about some basic things we see in the computer. One thing is mainframe and old computer, they were huge and massive, just like what we have in the background there. Then you would have all these huge devices that they use chips, zeros and one cards to process um, transaction. Now the world has changed. With our small mobile device, we can do probably what mainframe used to do in the 70s. So it's a different ball game. So they are large, big organization, defense contractors, defense um, different parastatals used to use those mainframe then. Again, I'll skip a few things there. Personal computers, we all know that right now. We're all using it on our phone, laptop. Probably all of us have laptop, or our kids do. I'll skip that. Those are things we know. PDA, most people don't use PDA now, but it was popular back then. Personal digital assistant, just the way a small device people use around. Your phone is pretty much a PDA, so to speak, at the moment right now. So I'll skip that too. This is the central processing unit. The beauty of it, if you guys are aware of what's going on in the news, you'll notice sometimes there's a shortage of supply chain of chips, or in terms of cables, or in terms of different devices right now. There's backlog, of course, because of um, COVID, because of different crises globally. It has impacted the flow of those devices end to end. So there's a shortage right now, but the world is adjusting gradually with that too. All right, let's talk about input devices. As the name implies, we manually put some information there: keyboard, mouse, scanner, digital camera. Output will be like your monitor, your printer, your speakers. All of these are things we already know, but I just want to kind of call it out because they are basic foundation of IT as a whole. Okay, this is what like a motherboard, some chips looks like, memory card, RAM. Without this, we cannot run our operation. If you're using an electric vehicle today, like Tesla, without these, we cannot do any function. These are important chips that the world needs. There's shortage at the moment, but these are very, very vital worldwide. Okay. Again, I'll skip a few things that I feel are just things that are not necessarily what you would deal with in this new world. But I'm just kind of going historically from a perspective of what we've seen in the past, so you can have a very good picture of where we are evolving to. We've come a long way. The world has come a long way. It's a lot of changes, advancement, technology, innovation, the era of artificial intelligence, working data, algorithms, doing a lot of work. So it's very much evolved, but at the same time, it's good to put some historic context, because sometimes you might talk to a client and realize, wow, these guys are using a system that has been used 20 years ago, but they still kept it because it's in a manufacturing plant and they don't break that easy. So the risk is that the vendor is no longer supporting it. Even for us using phones, I'm sure you remember there are times your vendor will tell you, well, for that phone device, you need to upgrade because you can't install new patches because it's no longer supported. I had that experience with my Samsung Note 8, I believe. So I was forced to upgrade to Note 12, 21, something. But because the current one I used then was no longer supported in terms of updated software patches for security. And that was important because of all this hack and threat all over the world right now. So I had no choice but to change it. So just something to know. Again, like anything, all of those devices, they have speed, they have the sizes, they have the capacity, then it can also trigger different application running. We don't need to know all the details of this, but to have awareness at the minimum, to understand what are the intricacies at the back end at the minimum. So just have an understanding. So the CPU, central processor unit, is the brain of your computer. It's what runs everything in the computer. So just wanted to throw that out there. Um, Again, I won't go into all this. These are things that are hold, but I'll send the slide for us. If you want to go through it, feel free, read it up, get some fresh knowledge yourself. But we'll move forward to important things that I think are more important. Bits, all computers working on a system, they process our data in ones and zeros. I'm sure we all know that. So our computers are processed. We don't know what it's doing. We have no clue, but we know it's being processed in bits, one and zeros, all right, at the back end. That's all I needed to know at the moment for that. You can see here, one or zero level of storage is called a bit. So just have that knowledge. Bytes consist of 8 bits. So it means we would have multiple zeros and one eight times. Kilobytes gets much more expansive, 10, 24 bytes. The world has changed. These things are just crazy right now. The way it's less expensive to implement these devices, you see gigabytes. So now if you go to your store to buy like your computer, you see them, they're in gigabyte, terabyte. It's insane. 18, 20 years ago, if you have a laptop that has 256 megabyte, you feel like you've arrived, you're on top of the world. Now, if you have a laptop that has 5 gigabytes, you feel like, yeah, you're behind. It's insane. It's a good problem, but that is cool. That is what technology has done for us. The mouse, I'm sure you guys will tell me what the hell am I doing telling you what the mouse is. So I know we all know what that is. So, but just wanted to kind of make no assumption, cover all those basic things as a whole. So that's what we've done. Um, Of course, we know what a keyboard is. I'm sure you are all, we know what a scanner is. We use it to scan printed material, it converts the file, and we can use it in a PC. I'll skip some of this, as I said, touchpad, light pen. These are just joysticks for people that are gamers, digital camera. We all use cameras right now. Microphone is attached to all our devices. So if you are hearing me now, it's because you have a microphone on your device, okay? And these are just some general things. I'll skip this again because these are just basic things. But like I said, we're not going to make assumption. We just keep truck. You guys can also check this out. Hard disk, don't feel embarrassed. This way, old school. In the past, we all started with all these big hard disks. Now, with a small, tiny device, we can capture hundreds of terabytes of data. So the world has just changed in a good way. So, and the costs are much more lower now. So the expectation is not crazy like before. Okay, and this is just showing some separation on how the speed, the capacity, and the cost in general. The cost has gone down way lower than it used to be in the past. So now it's much more easier. Let's talk about operating system. The operating system is like the life and the wire of everything, that you do. Before you start your computer, it allows us to start the computer. It's like the engine that runs everything. Okay, very important. What is application? Always look at the application as those set of functions that we've designed and built to perform specific process. It can be a web application, a mobile application, whatever application. If you are looking at me now, it's because you are using a Zoom application to process recordings and live streaming, which is what we are doing at the moment. So you can create an application, anyone can create an application. The end goal is to provide value and do some set of functionalities. Another big one out there is the concept of database. Anytime you hear the word database, database is just a storage of information, as simple as that. We're not going to complicate it, okay? Then one thing we should remember is that most softwares, they have different versions. Always remember that, try and always make sure you are using the most up-to-date version, because from a security point of view, they might have made updates that will be relevant to you. So just something to take note of in general. All right, let's keep moving. These are some sample operating system. In our world, we are going to use mostly enterprise operating system, like your Windows NT, your Linux, your Unix, either it's a Linux flavor or a Solaris flavor. Those are some popular ones out there, okay? Some application types, again, these are going into some old school things, but at least you can understand the historic perspective of this. These are application, all of us know what application are. We use it every day. WhatsApp is a big one out there. Graphical user interface is just showing us what we are looking at to make it much more appealing. They use user experience to read how we would behave and how effective a program can eventually be. Okay, and the interface, you will notice for the likes of Windows, Mac, it's just fantastically much more easy to use at the moment. All right, I'll skip again. Again, don't worry, guys. I'll give you access to this slide. Network. In simple terms, network is the connectivity of multiple devices. So what you will see here is just, okay, local area network is just devices connected together to a central server. Now, I'm sure all of us have heard the cloud. That is a different monster. Gone are the days people rely only on their local area network or their wide area network. People now are going into the cloud solution. Somebody will ask me, what is cloud? Cloud is not what we see in the sky, it's cloud, but in our world, it's just a data center somewhere, which is just a huge center, similar to what you see in this background. They would have so many, laptops, servers, and good information that people keep critical devices there, and they provide that service to the public. Those devices have replication in different regions so that if one region is attacked by a natural disaster or something, it has backup in multiple locations and the operation will still continue. So the likes of Amazon Web Service, Google Cloud, GCP, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. These are popular cloud. Those are the three most popular cloud solution out there. So if you hear your clients in an environment, they say, well, what cloud solution do you use? Just remember AWS, Amazon Web Service. We'll talk about this shortly. We'll talk about Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure. Those are the popular ones out there. Okay. Again, I'll share this with us all. Let's go to the next one. Extranet is just mostly a private network within your environment as a whole. So that's what Ethernet, extranet is. Internet, of course, we all know what that is. Connectivity of multiple network in a global scale at this point. Because it's connected globally, it comes with its own risk. So it means we have to be more careful, more thoughtful before we put our network in the public domain. The implication is potentially dangerous right now because of extensive cyber threat and very cheap tools to make your life complicated. You don't need expensive tools, cheap tools, and it can still provide drastic results. So be careful with that too. All right. ERP means enterprise resource planning tool. These are tools that merges multiple processes together to do complex processing. It aligns and combines all of these processes, and it would interchange and interface with multiple process to make your life much more efficient. So if you have an inventory system, it will automatically link to your order system, your procurement system, everything ties together and it fits into your financials, for example. So it's pretty cool. That's something you might have heard of. SAP, Oracle, Workday, those are popular ERPs out there. Okay, let's go to another one real quick. Again, I'll share this slide with you guys, so don't worry. Teleworking, right now, we all know that most of us are working from home since COVID. In the past, the world was saying, well, people don't, can't work from home, but that has changed because now we know that people can actually work from home. Most of us are teleworking right now. With that comes more responsibility. We have to log through secure network. We have to make sure that the confidentiality of our clients' information is protected too. So it's a very big deal also, okay? So it comes with responsibility when we work from home too. E-commerce, all of us shop on Shopify, on Amazon. If you've bought on any of those sites, you're part of the e-commerce ecosystem, okay? So we move on. I'll skip understanding of e-commerce. These are not necessarily important for us. Information security, which is part of what we are doing, within information security, it focuses on security threat within the organization. It has policies we need to follow, like policy for handling sensitive data, procedure for reporting security incident, awareness for your staff in terms of what security they should be aware of. These are things that are vital, in terms of information security. So your organization must have acceptable use policy, some key policy to keep them in good shape, or else that's going to be a problem on its own. So you have to define the right policy within your organization to be very successful within the organization, okay? And again, remember, policies are more strategic, long-term vision of the organization and what should be done. All right, okay. Let's keep moving. Again, this is just acceptable use policy. That's why when you join an organization, they always ask you to sign acceptable use policy, meaning you understood how they intend to use their network, their internet, and everything about the system they are using. Okay. All right, let's go. Again, you guys can read this part of it. Privacy issue with computers, of course, there's going to be privacy concern typically. So those are issues we need to also always deal with, talk through. What are the privacy concerns with my computer systems? Password, for example, how are the passwords set up within the organization? What are the criteria and guidelines for good password? And these are things in our GRC program we cover typically. You will see how to define policies around access control within your organization. And you can come up with some best practices, recommendation on what should be within access control with your organization. Backing up of files, very important. We need to think about backing up files within our organization. That is a very valuable piece of your strategy. If there is an incident, you should be comfortable that there's a backup that would help you to survive in those kind of situations. Of course, the most vital information you store or vital strategic thing you store is your data or your information. That is what can really make you exposed to potential lawsuit, regulatory issue, or outrightly intellectual property being lost, which is equal to loss of revenue within your business. So that's a big deal also. So we'll talk about generally some of the backup process. Complete is just a full backup. Incremental backup means at certain intervals, you are backing up in incremental phases. That's what it means. Some people use offsite location to backup because they don't want to invest in a physical location within their facility, which makes sense. It's cheaper. They don't have to worry about all the complexity of managing a backup system. Okay. A virus, as part of our program, will learn about different things about malwares. These are malicious code that has intent of exploiting a vulnerability to cause harm. So the intent is not typically good. It's to cause harm to us. And you guys will see more information over time. Software copyright, of course, we all know, there's always copyright rules now around softwares in general. So that's a big one. And that applies to different areas, gaming, video, general computer softwares. Then of course, there's always your end user agreement. All of us, when we download a software or a system, it will tell us to check a box and click accept. When you check and click accept, naturally it becomes binding because it's a contract that you sign by clicking that button. So be careful when you sign those buttons. It's not like we can do much, but at least think about it and see how valuable the information is to you before you sign those agreements in general. All right. Data protection in countries. In the US, we have some laws around data privacy. Two big places that is common. California, they use CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act. So it's a big deal. In Europe, we use GDPR, which is another big one for European nation. So if there's a document or data that affect your European counterpart, then you have to have some reporting guidelines to do it. Very important because that is enough to cause reputation risk or potentially cause loss because people could file lawsuit, class act, and that's money lost. Architecture simply means how is the way your overall network, which is connectivity of devices, structured. Is it structured in a way that it is safe? For example, when you look at this, don't get frustrated. All you're seeing here is LAN means local area network, how they connect network within a smaller environment. Internet is wider. The other one is a LAN. If I'm looking at this in my mind, I'm saying, wait a minute, guys. Right now, I'm seeing, for example, the internet, okay? Within this internet space, I would ask one thing. The question is, why is there no firewall shown here? Firewall is supposed to be that wall software that would block any kind of network that is suspicious. So they have firewall rules. It can block ports that are open. It can block the flow of data, and you can set it up to block all of those things. Most times we just look for what we call the firewall best practices. That will guide us on what to do and how to go about it. So that's a sample of what architecture looks like. Relational database is just database that designs how information and data flow within different systems across the board. So that's what relational database is. Client server environment is just saying we have a client, which is like your phone, and you have a server somewhere that is being pulled from. Some of the popular, you might hear Active Directory, which is a popular one by Microsoft. So all of this combined together, all of this happens in microseconds. So you and I don't get to see it, but this is at the back end. It's happening all the time. Okay. All right. That takes us to another one: types of cloud infrastructure and top vendors. I'm going to pause for today. Tomorrow, I'll go into types of cloud infrastructure and the top vendor. Thank you, everybody. More to come.